high aggressive ganks in the lanes and as well as skirmishes, possible invades perhaps. So before the 4-minute mark, I think we're going to see a lot of movement.
A lot of aggression, but when you look at these two teams and you start looking at them as aggressive units, you have to give the edge to Divine, who in their regional play have seemed a little bit more coordinated, a little bit more careful in their aggression, whereas Boom and their region as a whole is a little bit more chaotic.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I mean, you know, Boom, I feel like when we look with them when they play from behind, it feels like they collapse a little bit. So it is very critical for them to get that early lead.
And if they get an early lead, if they start the chaos on the map, then there's a shot. If they can drag Divine down into the mud and start wrestling them, that's where Boom thrives. Let's talk about this pick ban. We've raced through the bans, we're well into the picks. Riku, talk me through it.
Yeah, I really like this Ziggs first pick. Coyote is just going to be that that stable ground in the mid lane just to wave clear and also be that really crazy damage threat at the 3-item mark as well.
I really like that we're already seeing a really cool comp out of Divine. You get this Jarvan Ziggs, and when they combine, you have people locked inside the Jarvan ultimate. It's very easy to throw Ziggs bombs over the top, given that we already have this really good front line between the Renekton and the Jarvan. I look for some more backline damage out of this team.
Exactly, I was expecting it to be a Jarvan for jungle, but locking in this Kha'Zix, meaning that it's going to go towards topside, and Coyote is going to be in the mid lane, meaning we're not going to be seeing a traditional AD carry setup. It is going to be Hope 1 on that Ziggs.
Okay, so Divine throwing us a curveball then. Their only real backline damage is coming from the Ziggs. He's got an awful lot of work to do. Over on the BOOM Esports side, it's a little more traditional, even though there's a lot of new tactics that we've seen come out very recently. This Senna, for instance, recently prioritized to the top of these drafts.
Yeah, the Senna having that infinite scaling as well, so it's going to be very scary come late game, but also the threat of the Galio Diana. That big wombo combo is going to come in, Moonfall and the Hero's Entrance. And on top of that, there's also the Riven that will set up for the team. And I can't imagine this going to form into a 4-1 setup, maybe 1-3-1 perhaps, with the Xin Zhao being involved as well. So it's looking to be a very skirmish-heavy team composition for the side of Boom.
And looking at these two compositions, I'm actually kind of liking Boom's draft a little bit more. I think the amount of damage that Divine are bringing to the table is frankly a little lackluster.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I mean, there is a lot of, you know, layering of CC involved and a lot of explosive damage as well. And the fact that there's two global ults involved with the Senna ult and as well as the Hero's Entrance. So they can make map plays and as well as punish, perhaps, you know, Divine Esports when they create opportunities in a different lane.
And that's worrying to me, because Divine are the team that we said needs to be able to control the map. And if they've only got a few sources of damage, that's going to drive them towards taking team fights. They can't take those skirmishes as easily. And looking over at the BOOM Esports side, the team we said needed to split up the game, make it chaotic, make it messy, they brought the tools to do exactly that to the Rift.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. It's going to be very exciting. That means Divine Esports has to be hesitant when they do dives, or else they might get punished. Even jungle invades as well. So we'll see if Divine adjusts or not.
Here is your final look at those rosters as everything does get slotted into position. Our highlight matchup there is, as we predicted, Len bringing the Kha'Zix to bear against Schalke's Lee Sin.
Yeah, it is going to be a Lee Sin. Very strong, level 3. It synergizes well with the Riven and as well as possible fights in the Rift Scuttler. So maybe playing around topside, unless they want to set something up with the Galio because of that taunt, big CC lock, big root from the Senna as well. They can get First Blood possibly in the dual lane. It's pretty hard with a Ziggs and a Braum, but it could be possible.
Here we go. Game number 1. Our very first match of the SEA Championship. As we kick off the Ultimate Wild Rift tournament. Can I say that, Riku? Do we get fired if I say that?
I don't think so. I think you're fine.
Yeah, I know some NA fans that are going to get in my DMs, but, you know, you should play in a better region. That's all I'm saying. I did get word during that conversation that it is, in fact, a visual bug that happened during our last screen, and it was a Jinzhao, as we expected, in that jungle position.
Still, a little bit of a similar, I guess, so strong level 3 as well. Rift Scuttler fights will be expected. I can imagine that Koi is gonna be fine. But he is definitely gonna get poked out, especially with the Senna, just trying to try and land all these autos. But of course, Hope 1 is gonna return the favor with a lot of pokes as well. But good news for Owens, they do have some sort of form of sustain from the Senna, so it's still pretty okay.
Yeah, this bottom lane is a late one for Boom. They want to use this Senna as mid to late game insurance. You don't expect the Senna to be doing anything on the map for a while. But that's okay, because this draft is frankly really good at how it diversifies their power spikes.
Exactly, it feels like a linear slope upwards. So for now, they're going to be relying on Xiaoqi here on the Xin Zhao, and as well as Tufts over here, and Fly Arthur again and Gov to, again, layer their CCs, especially come the dragon fights. And I can imagine it's going to be very important, especially if, you know, the first dragon's going to be Infernal.
We didn't get much time to talk about it before the game, so happy we have a pause right here. But Fly Arthur is one of the players I was really impressed by in regional play. I think Fly Arthur did a really good job. I watched him play a couple of games on Ziggs, and actually one game on Diana, where he was very aggressive. He was always finding maximum value from his character, and made a difference for BOOM Esports in their very narrow final.
And I think that can be possible. I feel like he will be enabled in this particular game, especially Diana. You mentioned his performance was very, very good. And if you sort of build around that, I feel like it could be, you know, added value. The Riven as well. You follow up with first the stun, Moonfall, and then Hero's Entrance. And as well as the shields coming from the Senna.
Yeah, Boom have a really good combo composition, right? And so let's kind of separate these two teams, because Boom have this composition that is, as I like to say, plug and play. You can put any different combination of them into any given fight, and they will have enough tools to make a team fight happen. Whereas if you flip over to the other side, if you look at what's being brought to the table by Divine, they sort of need all of that front line to engage in front of Hope 1 in order to get those team fights going their way.
I have to agree with you there. They really need Coyote for that setup. And so far, it hasn't been panning out too well, just because of the priority coming from Fly Arthur.
Let's also give Len his due, though. Len, one of the most dominant junglers in Vietnam, a very, very highly contested region. Talk to me about what you expect Len to do, not only in this tournament, but in this specific game.
Yeah, most likely Len is going to try and focus his efforts either in the mid lane, just because that setup is there. There's the CC, there's the flag and drag, and they'll be able to try and eliminate Fly Arthur, considering that, again, a Diana, usually always all in, but no way out, going to be relying on summoner spells. So I can imagine Len is going to try to relieve pressure eventually. Also topside, especially if you want to unlock Time X here on the Renekton, because there's also that snowball potential and can be that answer towards BOOM Esports whenever they want to do a 1-3-1.
We're back into game, and we've got a pretty quiet early game, Riku. Everything's been kind of how Divine would like it. They don't want anything to happen until this Ziggs comes online. When should we be talking about that?
For Hope 1, it's going to be 3 items for sure. We're talking 2 items actually is very comfortable. We're looking at Ludens and plus Rabadons. I feel like that is going to be enough to sort of chunk down the rest of BOOM Esports, especially it is, what, a 4 melee composition. So for BOOM, they have to make sure to reach Hope 1 before anything of that poke happens. So objective fights will be extremely painful, and also as well as Baron, if ever Divine keeps Hope 1 alive.
Yeah, the objective fight's really scary because, of course, you do have that Ziggs ultimate, the Mega Inferno Bomb, which is the most effective way of stealing away anything in Wild Rift. Right now, there's a dive happening up on the top side as Len commits behind the turret, and it doesn't seem to have found much. Did burn a flash from Fly Arthur, and Len is completely caught out as a result. His engage just gets dodged, and it's Divine Esports who give up first blood in this game 1.
Yeah, because when we look at the HP of Tufts, he's still pretty healthy. He used all of his summoner spells, but looking at the health of Khan X as well, it's looking to be like Len got the blunt of all the pain.
And it was right before this dragon fight as well. So Boom take the dragon. They do lose Gov for it, and will enter the team fight on the other side. Cataclysm already spent, but there's no damage for Divine. It all has to be on Tan. He's already found one, and he's going to chase Shaki underneath the turret in order to pass the second kill over to Hope. But a lot of summoners burned for a 2-for-1 trade on the map, with the Drake going over to Boom.
I think that's still pretty worth for Boom, especially, again, they want to deny as much as they can away from Divine Esports, especially in the damage department. So Boom will definitely be happy about that uptake. And now the biggest question is, will Boom take a 2-for-1? Or rather, a 2-0 on objectives, because Rift Herald still stands. They can rotate over there. Ult-wise, they're not healthy. They will need the Moonfall and as well as everything else to set up for this. So for Divine, it feels like without their ults, they're going to be a-okay when it comes to damage and the setup with the Flag and Dragon as well. Coming from the Braum, perhaps with the stacks. Uh-oh.
Torn found. I'm not sure what's going on here, but it's not going to result in a kill, Riku, so we're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. For Boom, they have to go all in right away. They cannot hesitate, or else they're going to get poked out, and I don't think the sustain coming from the Sen is going to be enough.
Engage here does find Xiaokui, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Boom lose their jungler, which of course means Divine can just turn instantly onto this Rift Herald. The advantage of playing with this much CC, I suppose, is if you're in that 3v1 situation, Divine can just find these kills.
Yeah, they can instantly lock you down. And again, for Xin Zhao, unfortunately, there's not a lot of options for you once you go in or get caught out here. This composition doesn't really offer too much when it comes to the disengage part. It's just definitely a very all-in scenario. As Divine Esports will get their Rift Herald, I imagine the Rift Herald will be unlocked towards the top portion of the map. But looking at the rotation now, it's going to be Coyote staying right there. So if he stays in that lane, he can set up a dive much better than a Renekton at top side. So we'll see if Len decides to take 2 on that one.
It's a little worrying, frankly, that Xiaokui was found out like that. Xiaokui was just kind of walking around the side of the top Baron pit all alone. And when you're a jungler before a major objective, you can't be caught out like that. So I think it's a little bit of the expression of what we talked about before the game, both in that jungle matchup and in this match overall. BOOM Esports can be a little more messy with their rotations, and you can find opportunities like that. Although, Len nearly makes me eat my words, and there's a flash engage round the side, a full combo up front, and the Dawning Shadow to buy space as Mega Inferno Bomb arcs in. All of BOOM Esports retreat. Fly Arthur found an angle there, but not enough to finish off any of these kills. Rift Herald will be summoned now that they've seen those cooldowns. BOOM Esports blowing an awful lot for not very much damage. And so this Rift Herald will charge into the mid lane. And I don't think they can stop it from taking this turret. Here's Coyote round the back. Oh, excellent Cataclysm. It finds 2. Heroic Entrance separates Coyote from the team, though, and he's just gone. Huge pressure onto Len as well. This team fight is managed perfectly by BOOM Esports.
Fly Arthur's Moonfall was massive. It basically deterred Divine to fully engage and commit to that fight. And while Divine was able to open up the map, Boom is showing a lot of power when it comes to fighting back and re-engaging as well.
Yeah, the way BOOM Esports split that fight is incredible, with Fly Arthur separating everyone else, and then you have the heroic entrance on top by Gov to bail out the 2 people caught in the Cataclysm.
It's just perfect. But I think the struggle could be possibly Boom do not have their key ults for this fight. So Divine can use this as an opportunity. Cataclysm will come up in a few seconds. We'll see.
BOOM Esports working away. 4,000 HP remaining. Coyote on the flank bottom will be caught out, will be taunted. He's separated from everyone else and he's dead again. Here's the front line. Tunt into the fight, backed up by the Dawning Shadow, and massive damage comes out. Tanex tries to turn things, but he doesn't have enough. The Drake again goes to BOOM Esports alongside the fight.
And that's going to be very handy for them because the shields are going to be very important against Hope 1 on the Ziggs, especially later on.
We do have at this point a dead even game. 30,000 gold apiece. As BOOM Esports, the Indonesian seed into this tournament, are taking Divine Esports to the late game.
Exactly. So for Divine, I mean, they still have that Ziggs, but eventually 10x is going to fall off. Coyote is just going to get shredded down. Once he just dives in, he's just going to instantly go kaboom. So for BOOM, this is something that they will welcome.
Come on, Riku. BOOM was right there.
I know, I missed it.
It was right there.
Oh, dear me. I can try again. I mean, this is
Yeah,
a BO5.
could you run that back, please, Riku?
I don't want it anymore.
The moment's gone.
The moment is gone.
BOOM Esports playing defensive here, getting a little bit of a reset in. They do have some major item completions done. The Rabadon's death cap on 2 players. Generally an indication of a scary late game to come, particularly when it's on this Diana.
Yeah, Diana's gonna get big burst of that Moonfall, and as well as thick shield. So for Divine, that survivability. Oh no!
Hook one. Dawning Shadow! It finishes the kill alongside the Ignite. So Gov actually gets credit for it, which is unfortunate, but very well done by BOOM.
A kill is a kill, definitely, and that's something you do not want. That is your ranged carry dead.
Tunax will chase here, trying to get some revenge, but it's a 4v5 on the map for the next 10 seconds. And Divine have not respected this. Quay steps up, gets caught out, full combo. Tunax down bottom, completely separated from the fight. He'll go down to Tufts. And this just keeps getting worse for Divine, one of our top teams in this tournament. As the mid-turret is shredded, Mega Inferno Bomb to answer, catches on the Cataclysm. It's a good fight for Divine, but they're in such a deficit that it remains a one-for-one trade. Finally, Hope earns the advantage, despite the flank of Gov. And Gov might be caught out as well, but he turns the table with a perfect Justice Punch.
What a save for himself there. Gov is able to punish Divine wanting to get more kills because understandable. BOOM was pretty much very extended. The tower is still pretty much healthy on the mid lane. And of course, with the window that Hope was eliminated at first, BOOM felt like they could take more, especially 10x fell through that battle. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty close. It's just 1k gold deficit between these two teams.
1k advantage though to BOOM, Riku, which I don't think any of us saw coming. And it's not just the gold either. They're leading in turrets, they're leading in 2 dragons to 0, all of which are cumulative.
Yeah, we talked about this. Their composition is just so good at punishing these mispositioning very hard. And we've seen that time and time again.
This positioning called out. Mega Inferno Bomb does go in behind the Cataclysm, and BOOM Esports will lose out on this fight by 2 players. A flank attempt does come in. Tufts flying in on the ribbon, instantly knocked up. Disengage, cancelled. A desperate dive from Fly Arthur. This is just 1v3 after 1v3, and Fly Arthur's goes no different. Divine Esports take 4 kills and wipe BOOM off the map.
Yeah, that domino effect, they came in one by one, and that's exactly what Divine Esports want you to do. And now they have a free Baron. They're able to accelerate all the tower takes and catch up. And everybody's so low, everybody's going to be worried. I don't think anyone's going to die, but everyone gets a Baron buff.
Full reset for Divine, Baron buff in hand, and that cold lead we were just praising. Riku, it went boom.
Yeah, it went boom in just a few seconds, and it looked really good, but Divine Esports know that. Talked about this, Ludens and as well as the Rabadons, and it feels like this is the time where Divine can be a little bit more confident in engaging, as long as Hope is going to be with them. And now for BOOM, they have to play defense on this one. They do have a great amount of wave clear coming from Fly Arthur and as well as Gov as well. So I don't think it's going to be all too bad.
A bit of a scary skirmish in mid. At this point, Owens is coming online. He'll be getting there. But we have a window for the next couple of moments where Hope 1 is doing more damage than anyone else in this game.
That's absolutely true, especially in the sieging part of things.
Dive in from top, interrupted by a very good satchel charge. Quay eating the damage. Here's a deep interrupt. Mega Inferno Bomb as the follow-up shuts down Owens. Coyote split this fight. Fly Arthur tries to find the turret, and he's got the over-the-top entrance, but none of it makes a difference. Fly Arthur, the last player alive, as Hope One cleans up the fight, and they're going to press in 30 seconds on the timers. Ziggs breaking down the Nexus turrets. This is going to be Divine Esports taking game number 1 over Boom.
And Hope One just hammered in all the bombs in against Boom, and they had nobody to reach him, and that is exactly
You're saying in
turning
the
it against
entire
you.
tournament, as though that isn't quite the same thing.
That is true. You have a point there.
Let's talk about it. Boom Esports versus Divine. We're into the draft. Give me the patch notes. What do you need to see changed?
Okay, look at that. This is a, I think we've seen this before. So Boom decides not to let the Varus out. I was actually expecting whenever Jarvan 4 would appear, they would like to pair it up with a Varus or use it against the Varus, as it is one of the soft counters. Look at that though, Divine now banning out the Ziggs, so they're not going to deal with either Owen's Ziggs or Fly Arthur's Ziggs.
The Riven banned out as well. Looking at it as Boom Esports are on the blue side, and they don't want that to be first picked against them. A fair amount of engage, a fair amount of dive has been removed. We still have Lee Sin on the cards, very popular. We still have Senna on the cards, a very powerful pick. Anything else you want to see here? Gragas.
Gragas is now unlocked. So Gragas is usually picked for big disengage and as well as for big team fights. This means Divine will not be able, will second guess either picking Akali or all-in compositions. So we'll see what the adjustments are going to be this time around, because as you mentioned, Lee Sin plus Renekton are really strong red side first rotation picks. We've seen that back in the Summer Super Cup being picked up by Thailand and as well as Vietnam. So we'll see if that's going to be the plan this time around.
The Boom Esports and Divine Esports teams are both very calm for players constantly being electrocuted. I'm noticing there in the background. We get the lock in, the Lee Sin that we expected does come out in the hands of Len, one of his key picks. Tarnax also gets his Renekton. It's the all-star squad for Divine.
Yeah, this is looking to be very scary because this means Len can set up for himself and potentially snowball, even set up tower dives for 10x at the top portion of the map. Now, the biggest question is what will be the matchup at topside, because this Gragas can still be flexed in 3 different roles. Could be Fly Arthur, could be Goff. But look at this now. If the Darius is locked in, that means it's going to be towards topside, and I feel like the level 1 could be dangerous for 10x here.
It is very hard to beat Tanax in lane. Both these top laners, it's kind of a similar style where the top laner gets left alone on an island to do their own business. But Tanax, kind of regardless of what happens in lane, always seems to show up to the mid-game with enough gold to make an impact on team fights. And despite Tufts' really strong domestic record, I struggle to see how even a Darius could dig Tarnax out from behind the turret, do enough damage to him that this game ends for him before we get to the team fight.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. It is, you know, Tarnax just very comfortable no matter what matchup. We've seen this matchup countless of times with the Darius and the Renekton. So this is, you know, familiar territory for him. Ooh.
Indeed, we get the RA locked in by Boom, followed by an Aurelia. Divine Esports on the other side grab a Nami, probably the most popular support in Wild Rift right now. And follow it with my favorite mid laner, one of Coyote's best picks as well, a Twisted Fate.
Yeah, this is such a classic. I'm gonna pop in level 5, drop in Destiny, and tower dive you at topside. And this will create pressure for Xiaoqi to see if he'll be able to get there in time, be that disengage, and try to punish out Divine Esports' aggression. So most of this, though, for the dual lane, they're just gonna be a little bit more chill. So most of the movements will come from Tan-X, Len, and as well as Coyote.
I'm a little bit worried because it's the all-star squad for Divine. It's everything they want. It's everything they get to win games domestically. Boom Esports do have some power picks, but it's going to be hard to put them together, I think, in these team fights.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult for sure, especially when Boom sees it coming. And now that they have Xiaoqi here on the Aurelia, we'll see how they'll be able to punish that.
It's game time. Game number 2. BOOM Esports already down 1 in this best of 5.
And now for this level 3 is going to be very strong for BOOM Esports. I can't imagine. You have the full kit coming from Tufts here on the Darius and as well as the Big Charm. So this may not be the same as a big wombo combo from earlier with Gov, Moonfall into the hero's entrance, but the apprehend to the charm can also be very deadly, plus the stuns from Xiaoqi. So with this, level 3 could be key. We'll see if Divine will maneuver around the power spike of level 3 and just wait for the big level 5 where they can impact the side lanes with Coyote on that Destiny.
Right now.
Because if you have a strong jungler and as well as a strong top laner, it's just so easy to accelerate the game. And we know that a Lee Sin and as well as a Renekton can potentially snowball out of control. And that gold card and the utility a Twisted Fate brings to the table just amplifies that chances.
So you're looking to see Coyote, yes, bully this early lane as he's already doing. But after this point, it gets a little scary to be in lane. Ari is very good at getting up in your face and dueling. So if Coyote can get out of the lane, start teleporting into those side lanes, as you were talking about, Riku, that's kind of the win condition here for Divine.
Exactly. Come level 5, Coyote ain't gonna play for the lane. He's just gonna play for the side lanes. Fly Arthur, on the other hand, has the ability to assassinate him. Spirit Rush into the charm, and it could prove to be deadly.
First blood found in the mid lane, like we were talking about. You cannot sleep on that Ari. Fly Arthur just jumps into close range, finds the combo, gets dropped very low, but wins the fight. Bubble does land in the meantime onto Gov and Owen, but they'll survive, just poked a little bit by Hope.
Yeah, and this lane is going to be very poke heavy with the Nami and as well as the Ezreal. They do have to be careful because of that possible heavy engage that Gov can bring to that duo lane though, especially if you have Xiaoqi.
He's doing it again.
Again.
Oh, and the Blade Storm lands. Goodbye. A very easy kill as Fly Arthur combos with Xiaoqi in the mid lane.
If this constantly happens, then there's going to be 0 destinies for the side lanes. It is just going to be Len and Han X having to fend for themselves, most definitely. Now the biggest question is, will Len try to relieve pressure in the mid lane? Because this has been the second time already in a short span of time.
Really impressive, aggressive play coming out from BOOM Esports, and exactly what we were asking for out of game number 1. Can we see Xiaoqi impact the lanes a little bit more?
Yeah, and ramp it up to 3 times. That's exactly what we're seeing. And now Coyote has no choice but to be very, very wary of the ganks coming from Xiaoqi, because they're gonna keep doing it again. As long as Coyote doesn't have flash, he's just going to be very vulnerable. He's going to be stuck. Therefore, you know, level 5 spike ain't going to exist. There's no destiny place that's going to happen in the map. So boom, having that 2 birds in 1 stone, they also enable Fly Arthur to be the scary Ari that can possibly one combo and explode anybody from Divine Esports.
I mean, at this point in the game, you're just a gold card bot, frankly, if you're Coyote. Your job is to throw cards, get some stuns, and hope for the best. It's not going to be an easy bridge back into the game for a Twisted Fate that is this far behind.
Yeah, it's looking to be a very sad laning phase for Coyote so far. And that means, you know, Boom, or Divine rather, Len and Tanex are just forced to fend themselves. That means the possible snowball of Len or Tanex is just going to be slowed down a little bit. That means that is an opening for Boom to keep taking things away from Divine Esports. That means, you know, Dragons and as well as Rift Herald fights could go in favor with the lead that Fly Arthur has in the game.
I'm not sure what's caused our pause, but it's about the same time that we had a pause during game number 1. So maybe it's a ritual at this point. I'm just getting used to it, Rika. And we will be getting back into it very shortly. The lesson, I think, to draw from this early game is that we still haven't seen Len make a map impact. We are seeing a jungle difference, but not the one we predicted.
Yeah, that's true. Len has been invisible so far before the 4-minute mark. It has caused trouble for Coyote And Xiaoqi and Fly Arthur, are having a feast a little bit. So now that the objectives are spawned, Infernal Drake will be very, very important, especially if they want to keep this snowball potential happening for Fly Arthur on this Ahri. So they definitely want to take this one. Len, of course, throws the gauntlet, waves the white flag. We're not going to try and fight you. We're just going to get this Rift Herald.
Very well done by Divine, and oftentimes a higher priority objective, the Rift Herald. That's not true on the Infernal Drake. The Infernal Drake is really terrifying here in Wild Rift. And BOOM pick it up and go immediately into a lane gank. Here's Fly Arthur. Oh my lord. An easy kill. 2 of them. Fly Arthur finds one. Turret does fall up top to Divine as Tarnex groups up with Len for some map impact. For both Hope One and Quay are now very badly behind.
Yeah, that was a no mercy dive coming from BOOM, but what is the response coming from Divine? It's looking to be like just defaulting to the 4-1, leave Tarnex all alone, just doing that split push. So now they're able to equalize the map across. But Rift Herald, though, has been unleashed in the mid lane, so BOOM Esports will lose a little bit control over that part. So future objectives like the Air Drake. Destiny, though.
Destiny is popped, and oh dear, it's Hope who's in trouble. Gov on the TP, bullied out by Coyote as well. He will go down. 2 kills over to Divine. Out of our first real teleport. Coyote, trade one back, flash over the wall, gold card lands. There's the second. Owens just has to back away. As both his allies, they got Hope 1, but it's a 1-for-2 trade. And Len was looking for more, but he got his timing slightly wrong.
Yeah, he was hesitating a little bit, but with that, it is still Divine Esports just punishing the overextension that BOOM did. I think they got a little bit greedy there, trying to get more. And Divine is right there on the timing. Again, BOOM Esports cannot afford to do that. Knowing that there is that Destiny threat, was just able to get that numbers advantage in these 1v1s. So for BOOM, we'll see where they decide to put their lead. Again, the lead is more towards Fly Arthur. So the charms is going to be very important. Most of the fights, he has to be present.
He's zooming right now. He's having a great game on that Ahri, just absolutely dominating the map. And nothing has yet shown a potential to equal him. We did see Coyote pick up those kills there, but it was very obviously just off the power of their unexpected teleport. Not a whole lot of damage being done by Coyote.
Yeah, this, Coyote's options now are to threaten any sort of 1-3-1 that BOOM Esports is going to do, possibly Xiaoqi, and as well as Tufts, just making an impact in the side lanes. But, of course, there is on the opposite side of the spectrum, Hope 1. We're waiting for his 2-item power spike as the Ezreal. It is a little bit of, I wouldn't call it a flip, but usually, we get to see Manamune being fully stacked.
Len back in this stasis, down in the bottom lane. Xiaoqi manages to survive this entire exchange, but will be burnt to a crisp behind the turret. And Len with the follow-up challenges Fly Arthur, who goes in and is shut down. An easy pickup. Len will fall eventually, a 2-for-2 trade down bottom, but it's big advantage over to Divine.
And Divine is able to get kills on towards Len, as well as the carries that they want to funnel their gold with. And, Hope 1 and Quay was pretty much far away from that, so they weren't able to follow up with that dive. But, BOOM is able to get at least revenge on against Len over there.
I will say, Coyote actually has a pretty significant gold lead over Fly Arthur at this point. And I think that just comes from minion kills and the shutdown he collected. But it's kind of remarkable that Coyote is back in this after the disastrous early game he had.
Yeah, most likely, gold passive, just consistently farming, trying to make up for the loss in the early stages of the game. But now that Dragon is spawned, we'll see though, because vision-wise, I feel like Divine actually has a lot.
They do now. Destiny gate popped. Coyote can be anywhere, and he should be alongside Len. Here it comes. Coyote backed by a TP as they go in behind Len. Len's already dead. Coyote will follow. Then traded out for Owens and Fly Arthur in the middle of the map. It's going to be Tufts for a double kill. The Noxian Guillotine striking twice. And bringing this game back in control of BOOM Esports as that big fight will open up the Drake.
Yeah, there's definitely also that second threat, which is tough here on the Darius. Divine has to be careful with their HP bars. If they're low, the resets will be enabled on this Darius pick, and I feel like that's exactly what happened. And now they are rewarded for the second dragon of the game. Usually, you know, when we look back at Divine Esports' performances in, you know, their tournament, it is them always having to get the timings of getting the dragon and securing. But BOOM so far has been doing a good job getting picks.
Top's in trouble. Len up close. There's nothing he can do. And it's another kill over to Divine. As despite being at a kill deficit, they do have the gold lead once again, around 1,000.
And I feel like this is exactly why BOOM isn't able to hammer down with their lead, because every single time they do something, or rather get an objective, they lose another. And Divine is just doing a good job sort of capitalizing on that, and the fact that, again, you can't exactly have a 1v1 scenario against Divine just because of that Destiny just popping in.
Oh, I always love those true shots that just feel personal. That one clearing out a little bit of wave, but mostly just hurting Gub. Joining Shadow across the map makes this fight down in the bottom lane a little more dangerous. Double kill passed over to BOOM Esports as they handle Coyote and Len pretty low and clean it up before any escape can happen.
Yeah, really nicely done by BOOM there. They knew that Divine Esports wanted to greed and clear the tower down bot, so BOOM just exactly, okay, let's go there, let's punish and save the tower in return.
Gov, middle of the map now, looking for an angle onto Hope. He's on Ezreal though. It's a little difficult to find any substantive engage onto him.
They're just looking for this tower at this point. I mean, Ezreal doesn't exactly spell wave clear. They really need Coyote for this one.
Stunned against the wall, Gov's done it again! Excellent use of the explosive cask, and it's going to be a kill passed over onto Quay. Now Owen's trying to kite this fight back. They've got the GA proc. Good dodge of Vanguard dead. Coyote flashes over the wall. Out to the GA. Tarnex is in the middle of the fight. He trades one for one. Let's back in. They've done it. Divine turn the scrap over the top of BOOM Esports. And there's nothing Fly Arthur can do except recall back to base.
Yeah, remember, most of the gold went towards Fly Arthur. We talked about this. He needs to be present. But because the fight was split into two, Coyote really did buy a lot of time. And therefore, you know, Fly Arthur, the rest of BOOM rather, had to suffer against Tan-X, Lin, and the rest of Divine Squad.
And not only have we finally started saying Len, but we're seeing what happened last game happen again. Tan-X has hit the mid game. And no matter what happens, he's here, he's got 2 items, and he's ready to fight.
The Black Cleaver and the Sterak, so his survivability is just going to be a tad more on top of the Dominus, on top of the heals coming from Koi here on the Nami. So BOOM really has to be careful. See if they can, you know, try to bait out the Dominus. Just try to exit. They do have that disengage coming from Gov on the cask, but, you know, so far, again, this is BOOM. They want full-on aggression. They're going to use the cask to misposition someone like the Ezreal, like this was Fate.
Destiny gate open. Nothing comes of it, at least not yet. And it'll fade. No engage off the back of it. Coyote just using it actually to get down to the bottom lane. Clear some wave down now.
Yeah, BOOM wants to prepare for this dragon. The Ocean Drake will be very important for them, especially they're up against Hope, who's just gonna be very painful with their poke. With the Omnivamp! Wow. Cask! Oh no!
Gov, what are you doing? So far forward, the Cap doesn't find an opportunity. And Owens can't follow up with the joining Shadows. Now they're just down a man. And what was that gold card? Reaching across space and time and finds the kill. The tables do turn back on the Coyote. As the dive comes out and kill on Shockwave. He'll go for more underneath the turret. It's madness from BOOM Esports. And they lose the trading 2 for 1.
And that is another domino effect. Unfortunately, you know, the attempt coming from God failed, but BOOM wanted to go some more.
Now they'll find Tan-X here as well. Tan just stands and bites him. He's renekton. He's not scared. He's a crocodile. And there's nothing BOOM can do. Divine finds 3 more.
And there could be more, actually.
Yeah, Len was included in that 3. He hasn't died quite yet.
There it is.
There we go. Boom gets something back. Fly Arthur still scary.
This is no jungler.
Yeah, back on the map, and there is no jungler, like you were talking about. Shaqui is up. Len down another 30 seconds as a result of that kill. Tidal Wave will open this fight. Dove taking damage. Charm bound, though. Explosive cask is the follow. And a beautiful engage from Boom. Will find a kill up to Hope 1. Tarnex very low. Will hop over the wall. Gold card in the meantime. Landing on the Fly Arthur. We've got a kite back. Coyote will find the trade. Gold card. He's going to get 2. And he's got the ult already popped. So he can teleport away. Incredible stuff from Coyote. He gets out with his life. But Boom will take the 3rd Drake of the game.
Yeah, Coyote was insane in that 1v2 scenario. The target prioritization, having to who to gold card first. Fly Arthur didn't have any mana, so he only had 1 skill. It was only the charm that he could dish out in that fight. Eventually was able to win. I mean, going up against a Gragas as well, you could have easily been stun locked, but Coyote managed to do that well, even escape the clutches of Tufts with a potential apprehend.
Keep them guessing. So, 3 Drakes. Okay, Len. Dive in. True shot.
Oh,
chunks.
no.
We're fine. So 3 Drakes all over to Boom. That introduces a win condition. Would you like to explain for anyone who's newer to the game how this Elder works in Wild Rift?
Yeah, that's going to be buffs on top of buffs. So this is going to be incredibly scary for the side of Boom, because Divine still has to face that threat. And of course, their only option is possibly fighting around the Baron. Look at this though in the bottom lane.
A little bit of skirmishing. Tufts versus Tan. True shot will arc by. Wave as it goes past. Not a whole lot found though. But we start the Baron instead. Both those side laners scrapping their way back up here as the Baron's down to half HP. Boom started it, baiting the fight. Stalling Shadow chunks, everyone low. But the Vanguard's edge did not land, and Hope 1 has already fallen. He found a trade for Fly Arthur. Jacques goes down in the back of the fight. Len with the dive. Does have GA still up, but he won't even need to proc it. 2 for 2 is the trading.
And now it's only 10x left. He's just gonna try to run away from this. But, you know, Boom, it felt like they could start the Baron perhaps, but they didn't have priority top side. They just want more kills.
I thought Tornax was going to be fine. He's in the river.
Destiny?
Governor. Coyote joins this fight. And really good use of the mist there from Owens just to keep him safe from that gold card. Coyote doesn't have the auto attack target.
Yeah, I was able to save the life of 10x there. Definitely needed him alive. I was about to say get the Baron, but Xiaoqi was perished in that fight. But just as you were talking, perished.
Rough
He
time
perished.
to be perished.
Oh dear. But yeah, you were talking about the Elder. I feel like Boom really needs thick shields coming from.
Now Queen finds a kill.
He's very far away from the rest of the team.
Yeah, I don't know. Coyote didn't have the ult up. Was just kind of vibing down there. And it could get worse for Divine. Tarnex is caught out here as well. He's going to jump forward and be chased down. Dodges the stun. It does not matter. Boom's roaming squad of death will find another kill here. They're going to come back towards the middle of the map, threatening this turret, burning it down.
Yeah, and they could get possibly another pick perhaps behind the tower. Maybe a little bit too risky because of the pokes coming from Hope 1 here and maybe a potential bubble. But they looks like they want to take advantage of 2 members down and want to keep going.
Incredible stuff. They're going to burn the inhibitor. Super Minions now active. And Len, what do you do in the face of that? He's just going to hide behind this other inhibitor, but the wave's crashing. There's a ton of damage. Stun will find Len. Explosive cast. Split Hope up, but he's not tagged by the RE Charm. So Hope survives barely. Tarnex will respawn shortly, but Tufts is already dead. Owen's gone as well. TP available on the Destiny Gate. Led with the dive. Knocked into GA. Will survive. And here is Coyote. TP on top of him. Tarnex survives as well. It is disaster for Boom. Divine with the teleport chain across the map as the Mountain Dragon spawns. It's going to be Elder to Divine.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful sandwich coming from Divine. Just cutting off the escape coming from BOOM Esports. They just want to get out of there, but they wanted to overstay. Got a little bit too greedy. Wanted to get another tower down before setting up for Baron. Now the losses are just multiplied here because Divine not only gets Elder, but they also get the Baron, and that's 20 seconds on the clock before Shao Ki arrives in the scene, and it's going to be just too late.
I was going to say, not like Gov has anything to say about it. TP in. Gov does not have anything to say about it.
Quay?
We'll see if Tufts can find anything onto Quay. He does. Takes his anger out. Divine still have 4 players up though, and they've got a permanent damage boost from this Elder, as well as the Baron buff for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, this is going to be 50 seconds, 30 seconds more or less without the Nami. So I feel like BOOM can use this as an opportunity to keep pushing through the waves and see if they can get, try to deter any of the sieging coming from Divine Esports, which is going to be a little bit tough now that Divine is, what do you call this? Sort of getting a bit of map control back, but it is still a very close game. Anyone can still win this. BOOM with a lot of buffs in their hands, Divine having that Elder Drake for themselves plus Baron buff. I feel like BOOM just has to wait it out, has to wait for the Baron buff to expire because they have 2 teleports on Shao-Chi and Tufts, so they can possibly make a teleport play, go to mid, and perhaps end the game if they're able to get a pick or 2 or maybe wipe Divine.
Look at Tanex just outsourcing. Just letting his minions do the work for him.
I know. He's just gonna be there to be escorting the cannon minions, but now they're dead. Has to wait for another wave.
Not a very good escort, Riku.
Just watching them die, I know.
It's alright, he's got more. Worker's always replaceable to Tarnax. He'll bring Divine and the rest of the squad up to the inhibitor turret down bottom, which means there are fewer defenders here in the mid lane. BOOM will now hold against Divine in 2 lanes simultaneously, thanks to their very good wave management. Divine coming alive again in the late game. Vanguard's edge cancelled out by a very good tidal wave. Doesn't stop the dive. Wow! Shao Ki in finds a double kill. Does survive as well. Nothing can be found from Hope. His true shot falls on deaf ears as the stun from Shao Ki will not get him out for the ignite, but he's still got Tarnax tied down. And what a team fight from BOOM! They turn it over Divine.
A beautiful charm coming from Fly Arthur there. I mean, the tidal wave from Quay wasn't enough, and they can just go straight to the Nexus and end the game.
25 on Coyote. BOOM, I think, have done it. They march down the mid wave. They've got super minions. This is going to be game number 2 to BOOM Esports. And Riku, we have a series.
Yeah, we have a series indeed.
That we were all talking up that was considered one of the best in this tournament, if not the world, has been utterly absent. Maybe feeling some stage fright, maybe not being able to be as aggressive due to some strategy changes. I don't know what's happening, but we're not seeing the dominant lane of domestic play.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. It is, again, imagine having to get Lee Sin, Renekton as well, and the utility coming from Coyote, and not having to feel him in the game. So this is a completely different Divine Esports, or LEN in general, that we're seeing in this tournament.
Let's get into this draft right now as the Olaf, the Alistair, the Lee Sin all banned out by Divine. BOOM got rid of Varus, Camille, and Riven, which leaves us with a very familiar first 2. We'll get Tarnax to lock in this Ziggs again for Divine Esports. We saw it played as an AD carry by Hope 1. And BOOM get arguably the better 1-2 to start this draft off. They're going to get Senna and Gragas.
Yeah, big disengage coming from BOOM Esports, meaning that Divine should be a tad careful towards the draft to lock in any sort of all-in. Because looking at the Galio now being picked up, meaning that we could see another Diana kick in. Of course, 10x is going to get the Renekton with how scary he is with a 4-1 split push.
Very scary stuff as the Galio and Renekton come in. Divine have their tanky front line again. Do you think we get something else as a damage dealer here? Do you think we see anything other than this Ziggs, Renekton as the damage dealers for Divine?
Yeah, I feel like Divine's gonna go back to game number 1 draft. We could see possibly a Kha'Zix pop in once more, and as well as we'll see if Coyote's gonna be on that Renekton. I know it is gonna be. It really looked solid. And for Boom, on the other hand, there you go. There's the Kha'Zix. And I feel like, you know, no Jarvan 4, that's going to be on BOOM Esports side, so they can pair this up with what they want. And Akali, we talked about how when you see a Gragas, it's going to deter a team to pick up something like an all-in, but Divine Esports ignores that, and they say they're going all-in on this Akali.
And I actually really like this because Divine actually finally have 2 damage sources on this team. They've got, yes, the Kha'Zix, who's maybe an assassination potential, but you also have, okay, Renekton, Ziggs, Akali. That's a ton of damage, and you know exactly where it's coming from. Over on Boom, they've also got plenty of options. Fly Arthur pulls out the Twisted Fate, giving them that cross-map mobility. He'll be laning versus Coyote's Renekton.
Exactly. I'm curious as well. With the Akali and all 2 assassins on the board for the side of Divine, the Destiny will come into play not only for side lane pressure, but also spotting out cheeky entrances by those 2 assassins.
Game number 3, Assassins is. The
Latin
Riku. The Latin Riku is actually Assassinai. So, there you go.
Oh! I learn something every day. I love it.
For anyone at home, that is not true. Do not quote that fun fact to anyone. Game number 3 kicking off here between Divine and Boom.
Okay.
Divine here on the blue side, Boom yet again to take the red.
Yeah, we talked about this during the draft. Full-on assassin. And the Gragas is there for that big disengage, and as well as how you're just gonna rest in the arms of Tufts here on the Darius. So Divine should be careful on how they're gonna maneuver around the fights later on. But we'll see if the Gragas explosive cast will be enough, because Divine has a pretty strong engage. Whenever 10x will go in, Orlan will go in, the hero's entrance will follow through from Quay, and it's going to be an easy stun lock and an easy burst.
Boom playing offensive on their own side of the map as Divine Esports, for maybe the first time in this series, have the more aggressive early game.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. Level 5 will be the key here, and at least they have that late game insurance, I suppose, when it comes to the Ziggs, which will be very painful considering that there's no sustain.
Tufts starts out this fight. Fly Arthur coming in with Gold Card. Jackie here as well. Gold Card does land, and it interrupts the play. Tufts survives as a result. 1 HP. Satan X needs to chase him down. He'll find the kill. Now they have to step into Jackie and Fly Arthur. Fly Arthur finds 1, finds 2. A double kill in the fight to Fly Arthur, and Tan X low as well. It's going to be 3 kills passed over to Boom as they win the early game yet again.
Look at that! That was massive. Shao-Chi was so close to his death. And he flashed just to get a smite off the Rift Scuttler to get HP back. And Divine Esports, of course, they fully committed to that fight. There is no way for them to get out. And in the composition itself, there's really no way out. This is the type of team, once they're in, they really have to commit. So for Boom, they got a lot of that. They got a lot out of that.
They certainly did, Riku. And let's talk about where that gold's going, because you might have noticed Fly Arthur has just completed his first item.
Yeah, he's able to get a little bit more tankier as well. He's able to get more pokes down with the
Rod of
sustain.
Ages, my god.
Yeah, getting that Roa right away. So for Divine, you know, Coyote here still having to wait for that Black Cleaver. And he is just gonna have a bit of a tough time in this melee versus range matchup. Good thing he does have some form of sustain at least to, you know, make do but that means he will not get priority in this lane most of the time. So that means, okay, I get priority, I can Destiny either towards the duo lane, there is a big setup there with Gov, or towards topside. Flash, Apprehend, Proto Belt Apprehend into the gold card. I think that's pretty neat.
Quay backing off here down bottom, as we did have an initial exchange. Gives some extra gold over to BOOM Esports. None of it affected the bottom lane yet, though. And so Divine can run for the win condition that gave them game number 1. Riku, if they can protect Hope, this game is still well within their grasp.
Yeah, 2 to 3 item power spike, Luden's Echo, and then Rabadon's maybe the orb, perhaps. We'll see what the call is for Hope 1, but that is the sweet spot where Divine will be more comfortable in these objective fights, perhaps. And, you know, it feels like Boom, they do have some form of sustain coming from the Senna, but most likely it will not be enough. But speaking of the Senna, there is going to be that unlimited stacking coming through, so the scaling coming from Owens will be very scary as well.
Drake picked up first Drake of the game, and Ocean Drake going to BOOM Esports, meaning that for the 3rd game in a row, they have the lead in early Drakes. Divine will get something back this time. It'll be a Rift Herald picked up. And they're looking for something to do with it. Down bottom, Coyote. He's under threat, so it very likely won't be there. But if you can bring the Rift Herald into mid, maybe, where Hope is finding value, it's a big gold injection.
Yeah, that definitely could be the choice.
Gold card. Fly Arthur vibes in the bottom lane. It's a Renekton, though. So Coyote can even just walk back up to this turret. And a bit of a waste of a gold card. The explosive cast will change things, though. That was massive. Gov finds the angle. And the support player for BOOM Esports yet again defines the early game. Here's the attack in the mid lane. Divine, call in this Rift Herald. Boom needs to play defensive here as a result. Len will dance through and find a 1-for-1 trade. Quay dying in the fight. Boom will be able to shut down this Rift Herald. 1-for-1 in mid. Advantage on the map to Boom.
I gotta love the rotation coming from Boom there. They were able to get a pick from Coyote, meaning there's no mid laner anymore, and then they immediately rotated at the mid lane to deny the Rift Herald from, you know, getting that tower in mid. So Boom is really getting a lot out of this, denying any sort of exchange coming from Divine Esports, and really love the commitment and the decision making coming from this team so far.
And Gov, what a series for him. The support player for Boom just absolutely dominating so far. Last game hitting some truly incredible explosive casts. Here he's already doing it again.
Exactly, he's been using these casks primarily to misposition someone from Divine, getting a pick, and just straight up burst someone down. And Gov has been doing these in the series. Has been, you know, the key to how Boom has been getting all of these early game leads, and we'll have to see now as, you know, Boom so far has control as they do have that lead in the early.
What do you do with this advantage right now if you wanna press Boom's lead?
Dive. I say dive. You have a Jarvan 4, you've got the heals, you've got the roots, gold card. There's already single target setups for Boom to take advantage of, and mid lane is going to be another source for Boom to take advantage of. So now the biggest question is, will Boom be able to have room to plant these advance wards for them to be more comfortable initiating the dive? The only thing that is stopping them for sure is that, of course, they're in the lead. They want to take care of it. They don't want game number 2 tower dive to happen again, where they fell one by one like dominoes. And I feel like it's also contributing to the fact that there's a hero's entrance that can punish them with a triple man taunt under the tower.
Riku wants blood, but careful blood. Owens
Yeah.
will play safe behind the turret. As here it is. Oh, what a dawning shadow. That starts the fight. Mega Infernum tries to slow things down. Heroic entrance is cancelled. Tufts in the middle of the fight. Setting up for more. Hook one. Quay already dead. And boom, keep going.
What?
Zalki diving past the tier 1. Is that too far? Double route found by the Senna. That's enough to slow things down. Coyote is yanked back into the team. And it's 1 for 3. Boom take the advantage.
A really nice punish there from BOOM Esports. Divine did not have actually, they have double wards on the riverside. But again, we talked about this before. Their composition ain't that great when they want to disengage from the fight. They're pretty all in. So if they get caught out, they have no choice but to just take it from BOOM. And now that the dragon has spawned, we'll see BOOM has priority at the bottom portion of the map. They can set this up, they can set the wards, maybe even set deeper vision so that after the dragon, they can maybe get another pick or two.
Drake will be picked up here. Midst of all of that, I do want to raise, Hope 1 dies. So we're seeing a much less effective, a much less scary Ziggs in this game number 3.
Yeah, he's gonna be a tad slower in reaching his spikes.
Oh, God! Explosive Cask is taunted here, so that's going to make things a little bit messy, but the Dawning Shadow across the map will keep him safe. Gov considering whether or not he wants to go in, and he'll find a lot of damage onto both the players. The support for BOOM out-dueling the 1v2.
Owens, he wants to collapse. He's going in, but he's far away, so it's gonna be too late.
But Gov wastes so much time, gets a little bit too frisky towards the end of that fight. Mega Inferno Bomb in the meantime will cut off the engage down bottom. Boom. Man, you have to love what Gov is doing on the Rift right now.
Yeah, he was crazy with, again, it was a 2v2 scenario. I would count the tower as, you know, being alongside of that fight.
It doesn't
and
move,
most
Riku. It's a 1.5 v2.
Okay, 1.5 v2. Okay, that's the compromise. Oh, dear me. Gotta love Gov on the Gragas for sure.
Doesn't count as a full. Maybe some of my solo queue teammates. They don't move either.
Oh no, that's tragic.
It is.
He is going for a Rabadon's too, so imagine eventually he is gonna. He was already painful from that.
Yeah.
From the 1v2. Oh, 1.5 v2.
It's full AP Gragas, so he's gonna like hurt when he lands those explosive casks.
Exactly.
This turret down bottom is gonna get hurt. It'll fall here. One of BOOM's teammates dying there, according to Riku. The top turret will be traded out, so it's 1 for 1 across the map.
Yeah, it has been the trade of towers so far in this game because again, Divine, they have to be careful. All the fights that they've tried to enter has failed.
Quay, not entering that one. Exiting it real fast. Will flash away from the fight. And so BOOM get their chance to reset. I do want to harp on, you know, just if anyone would like to follow along at home, cook this dish for themselves. Gov has just completed his Rabadon's death cap. His first item was Rod of Ages.
Yeah, most likely he wants to be a little bit more tankier on the HP department and survive a little bit more in these fights. Especially that he is, again, one of the primary frontliners, I suppose, alongside with Xiaoqi in engaging, and as well as Tufts. Just wanted to make sure he's able to dish out maybe 2 combos a little bit more and survive. Could be a dive.
Mega Inferno Bomb denies it. Now Xiaoqi is actually in a weird position as to flag and drag away to get out of it. The wave vanishes underneath the Mega Inferno Bomb, one of the advantages of having a Ziggs, and a Ziggs who's scaling up.
Exactly. It's we talked about this during game number 1 where BOOM has to be careful of that ticking time bomb.
Fly Arthur just missed his blue card, threw a red card instead, so he's not got enough mana to fight here.
That is tragic. That is you have to go home. It's okay. Owens wanted to go home too. Never mind. He canceled the ports. Oh dear. It's fine. 20 seconds on the clock though for the next dragon.
Anyone who's played Twisted Fate has been there. You missed the timing on the card, and you just have to go back to base.
It happens.
He did finish rapid fire cannon though, so got some shopping done while he was there. A little bit more range for those gold cards now. Very scary Twisted Fate coming online just in time for the strike.
Exactly. It's all according to plan. He was going to go home anyways to buy that item to get more range on the cards, just as you mentioned. Especially, again, we're talking about 4 melees on the side of Divine Esports, so this is very welcomed by Fly Arthur. Here, though, look at Boom. Or rather, look at Boom. They're already starting this Mountain Drake.
I'm looking, Riku. Here's Coyote at the bottom. Len Quay coming in from the top, and they are just split by that explosive cask. Boom turn their eyes back towards this dragon. Well below half HP. Coyote looking for the dive. Coyote in for the dive. It is secure by Boom, and the Dawning Shadow absolutely melts Divine. Nothing found on the heroic entrance, and there's nothing that can be done for Divine. And desperately, Tarnex dives in, finds one onto Tubbs. Now, 1v4, he's doing it! He trades 2 for 1! A heroic effort from Tubbs. But it's all he's gonna get, as Hope One's caught out as well. Very low. Fly Arthur will clean things up. Gov getting credit as well. And 3 for 3 with Drake going over to Boom. They'll take that any day.
Yeah, that's again looking to be like the game number 2 that we just saw. 3 dragons stacking already on the side of Boom. And we saw the attempt coming from Tanex, even though he had that Zhonya's hourglass to see if he can buy some time for the rest of the team. But at the beginning of that dragon fight, it felt like the gold card range from the rapid fire cannon was just too much. We saw Len already chunked to what, half HP before the entirety of that fight even started. So Boom, and as well in general, Fly Arthur has been doing a lot of work in these fights.
Fly Arthur will get himself a buff here. It's a privilege you get when you do as well as he's been doing. You get to steal away a blue buff.
It's it has his name on it.
Not if you're the jungler. If you're the jungler, you yell at him. Angry pigs.
That is also true.
Right now, Fly Arthur is in the rare position of actually doing damage as a late game Twisted Fate. He's going to be able to complete this Rabadon soon, and he's staying ahead of the power curve, such that him landing a full combo is scary, which is not usually the case.
Bottom lane.
Dangerous stuff over the top. Middle of this fight, Tubbs will go down shortly. The Dawning Shadow keeps him up, and this means Coyote is incredibly low. Fly Arthur finds the turn, and he's going to have damage onto Quay as well. Excellently timed stasis. Gold card ready to deal.
Wow.
He'll tie up Len. Len's gone. Excellent stuff from Coyote. Fly Arthur shuts him down anyway.
Yeah, gotta love the target prioritization again. This is what we're seeing from Fly Arthur. That 1v2 scenario temporarily is able to gold card and shred down Coyote first before Quay on this Galio, and bought some time with the stasis as well. Look at the dead bodies on the board. Gotta love it. As Baron now unlocked meaning.
We're gonna take that clip of just Riku saying, "Gotta love dead bodies."
No.
It'll be one of my favorite clips of this tournament.
No.
Baron burned up here. Mega Inferno Bomb for the steal. Teleport as well. Zhao Qi almost dies to the Baron. He flashes out. He lives through it all. Fly Arthur gold card. Oh, they turn it. Goodbye, Tarnex. He can't do anything. Divine, a desperate steal attempt, and it's going from bad to worse as Fly Arthur is everywhere at once. He'll teleport in. Oh, Gov again with the explosive cast tusk. Flashes to chase. Len's 1 HP and running underneath the turret. Will be Quay trying to stall things out. He can't do it. These inhibitors are crumbling. Boom have done it. They've taken the lead in this series. All they need to do is burn down the Nexus. And Dachi's a little too eager. He'll die to the Nexus turret, but the result is the same. 2-1. BOOM Esports. And
will I worry about the Fly Arthur matchup this time around? Will I be shackled again and not help assist Len in his adventures of diving in or invading the jungle or finding picks in all these skirmishes?
Yeah, so I want to see something other than the Kazakhs. I want to see, like you were saying, Len stop being shackled, be assisted by Coyote, get that mid-jungle duo online. Tarnex is playing well, Coyote's playing decent. But frankly, just getting outplayed by what BOOM are bringing to the table, particularly in that jungle matchup. Also in the support matchup, just a quiet note, Gov absolutely killing it this series. And he's earned some adjustments as we get into the ban here. It is actually his team that bans away the Gragas, meaning they get a first pick of this Lee Sin.
Yeah, that means there's not going to be a lot of disengage options that is tanky, either than the Braum that Divine Esports possibly will pick up, as now the Rengar, Len changes tactics. No Kha'Zix, no Lee Sin, because it has been taken. Let's go for the Rengar. Let's go for the thrill of the hunt. Sneaky, get someone down, burst someone down, and see if they can maybe possibly arrange a lane gank perhaps for 10x.
I'd love to see a Jarvan in answer to that. Give me Corki, Jarvan. Jarvan obviously would be in the top lane in this matchup. Or somewhere else. We saw BOOM get flexible with that earlier. But give me the Kettle, because once you have a Corki, you can throw the package down on top.
Brand! There you go, there's the Brand. The debut of Brand. Oh, I got a little bit excited there, TJ. It is going to be the Renekton.
There is no Brand!
Got a little bit excited there.
It was the debut of Brand. But like many movies these days, it was a 5-second teaser trailer, and in 2 more days, we'll get the real trailer.
That's what we got, the Renekton. I mean, Renekton Lee Sin is also incredibly strong as a jungler top duo, so unless Fly Arthur plays this up, actually, we might see the... I gotta get excited again. Again. The debut. Is this official? Because it's not locked in yet. It's not locked in yet. Oh, there it is!
It's locked in!
It's gonna be a support Brand against what? Divine should pick a Nami here, unless they put the Galio in for Quay. They have to have a range sustained matchup. There you go. The Nami will be the support for Ezreal. You've got heavy poke to answer the fire. Water versus fire at the bottom portion of the map. I love it.
Divine do have a very good traditional composition for this roster. They've got this Galio to play in the middle of the map, giving Coyote that roaming potential he loved. They've got Hope 1 on a big sustained damage carry from the Ezreal. Ezreal and Wild Rift can pump out terrifying damage numbers. But BOOM are throwing a wild card in here. It's going to be Corki AD carry. It's going to be Brand support. It's a very hard scaling lane. They're going to be terrifying in the late game. And they've still got Renekton top, Lee Sin to get them through the early game.
Exactly. They've got that level 3 power spike from Fly Arthur, Shao-Chi, and as well as Tufts here on the Renekton. So I can imagine Rift Scuttler fights can be a little bit dicey against Divine. And it all depends if the charm connects. And that will be the key for BOOM to win another Rift Scuttler fight once more. Of course, the Brand as well in the duo lane. We're sensing a lot of pokes from the Corki and as well as the Brand. The dots as well coming from God.
It's time. Game number 4. With Divine Esports, the 2nd seed out of Vietnam, one of the best teams in this tournament, up against their first loss of this tournament in their first match of this tournament. BOOM Esports taking them all the way, need 1 more to close the series.
Yeah, BOOM is just so close to sending Divine Esports down, and we were talking about this, Divine has been, coming into this tournament, the favorite to proceed from Group A in the bracket, but now there's a lot of question marks so far in our day number 1 as BOOM, they're playing their style right now. This is very strong early. You can unlock Fly Arthur again, just like in game number 2. But the biggest difference is now that you're up against the Galio. You're not up against Twisted Fate. Galio has a little bit of more survivability and as well as synergy with your jungler as well. And the fact that it also acts like a Twisted Fate. You can propel the side lane, set up the dive, perhaps the top side, and it's a 2 birds in 1 stone kind of thing. That's, yeah, with a hero's entrance.
I can be anywhere. My name is Galio. Mid lane presence is there, Coyote. Forced to burn the flash in the early game. Jacques takes advantage, and what was that? A turret dive in the middle of the map. It's a 1-for-1 trade as the turret takes Xiaoqi's life. Hope 1 in the meantime knocked very low down bottom. Quay will step up and threaten Gov. Everyone low except for Owens down bottom.
It's pretty funny. Exactly when I said, well, you know, Galio pretty tanky. It's gonna be a different story. It's now starting to be the same story as Fly Arthur gets that 1v1 kill.
I think that's a really good call out. It's the second game in a row, Riku, that Coyote has died to Fly Arthur in the first couple of minutes of the game.
Exactly, without Spirit Rush and without Flash. Fly Arthur has never used a Flash in the 1v1 scenario yet and is able to keep that in case Len or Coyote decides to be more aggressive, maybe decide to equalize that lane. But so far, you know, Xiaoqi doesn't even have to worry about Fly Arthur. He can focus his efforts on the top side.
Xiaoqi roaming up towards the top side right now. Showing up in lane. Tanex says no thank you. I'm gonna watch from a distance, respectfully. Pulls out the binoculars, sits behind the turret. Oh, taunt found.
Bubble?
Bubble found. That's a nasty CC chain. And Fly Arthur is dead. Len with the dive. There he is. Divine Esports' jungler shows up and claims to kill in the middle of the map. Here's Xiaoqi. Inch trying to turn this round though, and he's got the damage. Coyote traded out 1-for-1. True shot burns down Gov. A single minion would take him down, but Hope does not have the damage to turn it in the middle of the map. So it's 1-for-1, even trading.
Fly Arthur held on to his flash to make sure that he's able to see if he can survive and force Divine Esports to commit 100% under the tower. But he decided to keep that still, possibly maybe for the next dragon, as it is 20 seconds. Air Drake will enable the roams for sure coming from Boom. Maybe even coming visit in the mid lane, so there's just a ton of magic damage on the board for Boom. For Divine, they would need this as well. For sure, Len would want to have the Air Drake for more of that movement speed to zoom in to targets that he wants to eliminate. Coyote as well, if he wants to walk further in to get in range of the hero's entrance. Looking at the pings now though, Boom seems to, you know, call for this Rift Herald.
Yeah, Boom will be able to grab this Drake. Divine, as you were saying, pulling for the Rift Herald. I do think it's relevant. What is this? Okay. Sitting down bottom there, waiting for Hope to walk up to the turret. I do think it's relevant that Len has a start to the game. I think it's very important that we're seeing Len be active on the map for the first time this series. There he goes, on to Taz. Rift Herald dropped. Rengar on the prowl. Just gets bitten by a crocodile, realizes it's not his neighborhood. Gets out real fast. Meantime, package was thrown down bottom as Owens hard quick behind the turret. Gov finds the kill. Heal.
No way.
He survives.
No way. Yeah, Gov is just really out for the kill. It doesn't matter what he picks. Bragas, Brand, it's all the same. He flashes in for that CC kill onto Quay. And yeah, this bottom lane has been working out so far. And Tufts has been pretty much safe, already anticipating Len going in deep. Oh.
Middle of the map, Coyote goes for a dive and it goes badly wrong. Len's in the area but unable to engage. As Coyote tries to pressure Fly Arthur underneath the turret, and Fly Arthur finds the trade.
A little bit dangerous to try and dive, I suppose, especially if Charm is available, if Gov is there for that CC. And if Divine decides to do it again, they gotta make sure that they can finish off the kill. And Fly Arthur already has consumed the flash, and I feel like that has enabled them, Boom, to buy some time off of that tower dive.
But there's a lot on the map that's real good for Boom right now. Their bottom lane is winning. Gov on the Brand has an early gold advantage, so he's going to be relevant to these fights despite playing a support character. Tufts up top, did lose a turret, but didn't lose anything else for it, mitigating the results of that play. This is a very promising start to BOOM Esports' game number 4.
Yeah, exactly. They're able to get their carries ahead and set up as well. Like we get to see Essence Reaver already completed for Owens. We're still waiting for that Stellari Charge Blade for sure. And Infinity Edge for him to have a ton of crits on the board. For Divine Esports, you know, Hope won on that Ezreal. Not as affected of the added items. Gonna go for the classic Manamune. into possibly the Triforce, and I feel like that is the sweet spot where they can be more confident in contesting objectives like the Ocean Drake, which is going to be very important for both teams. Oh no!
Follow up. My God, he's done it again. Goodbye, Len. He's just found out trying to recall. Nothing is safe from BOOM Esports. And Hope's in trouble down in the middle of the lane, in the middle of the map. He's going to get threatened by ranged poke from Gov.
It's insanely painful. You add in Owens as well later on with a ton of crits on his itemization. This is Divine always having to run away from their tower. The Nami healing is not going to be enough.
Owens poking in down the middle of the map. I want to take a moment. Could you just talk through, because he is a new character, how Brand works, what people should be watching for in these team fights?
Yeah, Brand is going to be there for that additional CC and as well as additional damage and dot as well. So we've seen how powerful he is in the laning phase with so much utility on the kit. You get a stun, you get damage as well, and Owens is just going to funnel in all of, you know, the phosphorus bombs, all the rockets in the world, and it's going to be instantaneously dead.
We do have a Drake. Verso Divine Esports, the Pyroclasm, the Brand Ultimate, jumps between closely packed players, so whenever they're gathered around, say, a dragon, it's really scary for Divine.
The fact that everyone from Divine is practically very squishy, possibly except for Coyote here. So the hero's entrance for the shielding magic damage is going to be very important against this composition.
A lot on Coyote. Again, that utility mid player. Here's the find for the dragon. Half HP, Tufts pops the Dominus, turns the tables on a dive. Heroic entrance is spent early, everyone grouped together. There's the Pyroclasm, but it's not enough. The damage not adding up yet. Gov will find a kill, he's still alive, and it's the re-dive. Xiaoqi, it's the backlines. Value from Hope, but not enough to finish the kill. Sertan needs to flash it, chasing Fly Arthur. He can't finish it. Xiaoqi turns it. Gov steps forward. He's gonna stun up, and there's the dive underneath the turret. 2 kills to Xiaoqi. A double kill! He's done it again! Boom have done it again! Divine slaughtered in the early game of Game 4.
That was a crazy max stun coming from Gov there. An easy follow-up with the Sonic Wave. And then Safeguard and gets another kill underneath the tower. That is just sweet for Xiaoqi. And Divine now slowly falling into pieces, looking at more dragons. This is turning into what has been happening at the beginning of the series. It's starting from game number 2 where Boom just basically wins every single fight before a dragon spawns, and then they just take the objective.
I don't know what to do if you're Divine. They're so far behind now. It's a 4K gold lead, and they have a very lightweight composition that relies on them having items.
Yeah, exactly. This is looking pretty sad for Len as well, unable to find these kills rather.
Blackening skills as well, Riku, flame them.
Oh dear me. It has been the Xiaoqi show though.
Riku challenges Len to a 1v1.
Oh dear, I'm not doing that. Please. But it has been tough for Len in this entire series so far.
Oh yeah. And we did see kind of a spark of life. Again, we're talking an awful lot about Len because he is one of the most impressive junglers of this past season. He's looked incredible in his regional play in Vietnam, and yet come here onto the SEA stage, he's been remarkably absent. Something that is definitely affecting Divine Esports as they lose their top turret here, mid turret down low. Boom running the map 11 minutes into game.
Yeah, it feels like, you know, Xiaoqi has been outshining him for the entire of the series so far. And now all they gotta do, which is sad.
Len in onto Gov, reads the cooldown. There's nothing for Gov to turn the tables, but Len can't find the engage. He's running around uselessly, and in the meantime, Xiaoqi is threatened. He'll fall back behind the turret, saved here by the arrival of Tufts into the front line. He shuts down the play, getting real aggressive, but the rest of BOOM have already lost their carries. So it's Fly Arthur and Xiaoqi to try and clean up this, and Xiaoqi's all the way back at the fountain. Fly Arthur needs to hold 1v3 as Divine put together a very good team fight. Charm will land, wave is clear except for the single cannon minion. Turret will fall, but they're low. Xiaoqi in, Coyote dead. Recast through the entire ultimate of Hope 1. He's got a ton of damage, but he can't finish the kills. The true shot from Hope 1 saves the day.
Yeah, that's a good call coming from BOOM. It could have been risky because that is an Ezreal with the Arcane Shift and a Flash still. Said could have ended really badly if they overcommitted to diving in and eliminating Koi and Hope 1. For BOOM, though, they are still in the lead, but they gotta be careful in those scenarios where Divine Esports just can immediately catch people off guard. Len will be activating Thrill of the Hunt, find a target, and then Coyote will just follow through with the hero's entrance, plus True Shot Barrage wherever Hope is gonna be coming from, and that's gonna be a ton of damage, enough to eliminate anyone from BOOM. Everyone is basically very squishy on their composition.
Divine finally finding an angle, Riku. Finally finding a path back into this game.
Exactly.
I'm worried so much of it does rest on Hope, though, and there is so much dive available for BOOM.
Yeah, this is the sweet spot. The Muramana fully stacked and the Triforce. This is where your Mystic shots are gonna hurt incredibly. So for Divine 10x?
Takes 3 instant stacks from the Braum damage. Chased away here. Tufts finds the stun. He's dead. Right as the Drake comes up. Mountain Drake on the board. And surely not for a 3rd game in a row. True Shot arcs through BOOM as they try to complete the set. Get all 3 Drakes. And I don't know what you do about this Divine. Coyote's looking for that.
Oh!
Charm lands. Coyote needs to spend the stun defensively. Drake secured by Divine. In the midst of all that, BOOM manages to pick it up. And they're going to keep pushing forward. BOOM finds 3 kills. Drake over to BOOM. The complete set. They've got Hope. They've got Coyote. They've got Tan. This is their game to lose.
This is just crazy coming from BOOM. They're going for more, as the rest of the team will not be able to follow through. But that means, again, they get 3 dragons in this game. That is their win condition right there. Divine not getting anything out of this. Len not being able to get kills so far. 14 minutes. That is a very, very sad cat.
Took a bath, very wet, very depressed.
It's sad.
Just like soggy. You know how cats tend to lose like half their mass when they're wet? All the fur clings to their body? That's what Len is right now.
It's it's pretty tragic for Len, especially it's the first Rengar in the SCA championships, and for Len too. And
what are the other Rengars gonna think?
The other Rengar? Lengar? Lengar?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Len playing Rengar. Lengar. I like it, Rika.
It is. But 3-2-3 though,
enough.
actually, for the side of Len. So he's fine, actually. I didn't say entirely no kills, but so far though, with the fights, Len has been struggling to sort of see if he can transition this into anything so far.
The Lengar doing all right, better than Len's other performances today. But we still expect so much from him. Key in for the fight. Doesn't find anything. Meantime, there's a bit of a catch out onto Tan X. Coyote tries to repair the situation. Going in, Xiaoqi badly split. He'll go down into GA. Owens in stasis cleaned up. 2 kills over, maybe. Xiaoqi tries to slide onto the blast code, over the wall. Ignite ticking. Xiaoqi gets away. Only 1 player dies for BOOM in a desperate scenario.
That is the great escape. He was basically focused on by 4 members from Divine. And all this time, Tufts has been split pushing at the bottom portion of the map. Therefore, 10x was just forced to, respond to that. Therefore, Divine couldn't really afford to overstay their welcome and push through Xiaoqi's head over there. And It's still pretty risky though because of the Baron already being one of the most juiciest targets so far without the Infernal Elder Drake. So BOOM Esports will focus their efforts on their vision control over at topside.
Infernal Elder Drake, I will say, is just a stat boost that is game-winning, particularly for BOOM, who of course get more true damage because they have all 3 Drakes. They get a game-winning amount of true damage if they take that Drake. So this is just over. This series is just over if BOOM find this Elder Infernal Drake.
I have to agree with you there.
He's in, kick found, but nothing from it. Oh dear! Jockey down at the beginning of the fight. And BOOM, they've lost their jungler. And guess what's about to come up in 30 seconds?
I mean, BOOM has a lot of poke. They can try to slow down by 40 seconds, but that's a Baron with no jungler. Divine can get this and use this as bait.
Divine doing exactly that, baiting, trying to force an engage, and BOOM get the wrong message. They ignore the pressure. Rogue entrance over the top. Tan already dead. A massive win on the trades. This Tough just eats all the damage in the world. And Divine lose the fight.
What?
5v4. Double kill to Owens. He pulls it right back over. It's now Divine down 2 players as BOOM are tempted by this Elder Dragon.
Yeah, that could have been Divine taking the game back for themselves, getting more kills on the board with, taking advantage of the high death timers in the 18-minute mark and possibly getting the Infernal Drake and even denying that away from BOOM. But now, because of losing that fight, it is now BOOM already first in for the Infernal Drake.
Still 5v3. Divine need to contest this. They must, otherwise they lose this game, they lose this series, and they're already in trouble off the attempt. Len goes in, does damage to Fly Arthur, but Coyote's just gone, and Len's zoned up in the fight. Top steps forward, TP in on top of Len. Len forced into stasis. Elder picked up by BOOM. Picked up by BOOM as they start this fight. They'll turn immediately onto Len and shut him down. Chase Divine away, back to their half of the map, as I think BOOM might have done it in Tunisia, the region that has never gone very far in SCA competition, is now about to upset our bracket, blowing through into the base.
That is absolutely crazy. Look at them with this now on the Nexus.
BOOM explode onto the international stage, and they blow up our bracket here in the play-ins.
What a series.